15 minutes, let the change begin. Busy life, big dreams, so much noise in your ears. We cut straight through, make the next step clear. Thought for Thursday, real talk, real tools right now. In 15 we move the dial, simple steps, strong moves, you'll see how. Thought for Thursday, clarity that sticks, you'll feel it from insight to action. Impact that stays. Thought for Thursday, let's change a day.
Hello, everyone. Happy Thursday and welcome to Thought for Thursday. As you know, Thought for Thursday is a part of Leveling Up the Podcast. It is the section of the podcast. It is the portion of the podcast that we bring to you on Thursdays, Thursday evenings at 7 o'clock. And we come to you talking about a pain point. And by the time we finish in all of 15 minutes, we are going to get on the other side of that pain point and give you 5 tools, 5 actionable things that you can do that's going to help you in this situation. So, this week we have had a bit of a theme going as we turned our clocks forward an hour. And I don't know about you, but I felt that hour. And it's amazing how changing your clock, even for just 60 minutes, can totally adjust your life, can it? Many of us have been thrown off for the week. We have been late for everything. Okay, I say we because I'll put myself in there. Or we have been incredibly tired, find ourselves exhausted more so than we usually are. And it is because there has been a change, right? There's been a biological change in our bodies, we feel. Some of us feel more rejuvenated because we're getting more daylight and we thrive on that daylight. And some of us really do, I don't know too many people, but they kind of like it back the way that it was. Many people don't want the time to change at all. They want us to stay with this extra daylight and it be consistent. And it be like this, and we won't have to go back and forth. But what I want us to realize in all of this, I want you to consider the theme that I put with this. And the theme is spring forward and don't stay in a season that has already shifted. Just like the time shifts, just like we shifted and moved our clocks up, there are so many of us who are sitting stagnant in a season that we are not supposed to be in. When I teased this, I talked about how some of us are still sitting in a season that we're not even dressed appropriately for, and that is something to consider if you're living here in the DC metropolitan area where it was, about 80 2 days ago. And today we have about a good inch of snow on the ground. Really crazy weather pattern. So people went from shorts to, a hood. So you can't really use that analogy that I was just giving you about not dressing appropriately, because if you're living around here somewhere, you don't know how to dress right now. However, in the normal scheme of things, when weather kind of acts somewhat normal, you know that you're not supposed to be wearing a coat when it's 80 degrees outside. And what I want you to understand is that when the season changes, when the time changes, you have got to change and you have got to adapt to that. Daylight saving really is a reminder that we lost an hour. How many of us feel as though we've lost other things to seasons changing? We've lost time in this instance. How many of us feel that we've lost time due to being in a wrong season or hanging out, all right, or trying to extend a season that we really don't need to be in? The season, some of us don't even like spring, for example, because of the pollen and the allergies, but yet we're staying in there just entirely too long because, we've been in spring forever and it's not all that great to us, but spring is what we know. So we want to stay around. We didn't say, that we're not going to have Indian summers, for example, when it is warm in the middle of winter, or when it should be a little cooler and it's warm any other season. But for the most part, we need to recognize that certain seasons come with certain things, and we need to look at those. So think about this. Even though we lost an hour, all right, none of us really argued with the clock. Well, maybe we did because we didn't want to get up or we missed something. But for the most part, we didn't say, I don't agree with this change. We went on and dealt with it. We didn't refuse to adjust our schedule. And if we did, there were probably some repercussions for that. We just really kind of shifted forward because that is what the season demanded. I want you to think about that when you think about what you are doing in life. And thinking about how we just kind of shifted is what got me to really contemplate and spend some time on that entire theme. So the season changes, but some of us just keep living, like it didn't. So, what I want you to do is think about, well, what happens when life has shifted, but you haven't? What happens when your life has changed, but you haven't? Chances are you're sitting in a spot that is leading to a number of things that you really don't want to deal with. You may be sitting in a spot where you're depressed. You're sitting in a spot where you're working a dead end job. You're sitting in a spot where you're in a relationship that you would rather stay out at work rather than come home to face. Sitting in seasons that we don't need to be in, sitting in seasons that really need some change, where we need to do a little adapting. So, what kind of seasons? Well, if we're talking, about lifelong learning, for example, there's seasons of learning, seasons of building, seasons of caregiving, seasons of sacrifice. Many of us may feel that that season has hung around us for a long time. And then there are seasons of, you got it, reinvention. But sometimes the hardest thing to do is to recognize that your season has changed. You're still operating on a schedule of your past. You're carrying some responsibilities with you that really no longer belong to you. That was in an old season, but you still carry those things and are wondering why you feel so weighted down, because you're carrying stuff that you don't have to carry anymore, and because you're carrying stuff that you could have given up, but you've just added to what you currently really do have to deal with. So you start feeling restless, is a piece of staying in the wrong season as well. It's amazing how nature kind of reminds us what it is that we're resisting, right? Think about it. Look at what happens in the spring. The trees don't fuss about, budding. Flowers don't debate whether they should bloom or not. They bloom. Sometimes it gets warm too early. And for example, the cherry blossoms around here may bloom a little before they're really supposed to, and they don't have the full peak that they're supposed to have. So, we're talking about the shift. How is it that you know that your season has shifted? How is it that okay, it's time for me to move from, spring to summer or what have you? Sometimes the signs are subtle, but then there are other times when they can be pretty pronounced. You start feeling dissatisfied, for example, with things that once fulfilled you. Wow, that's a big one. Um, and the reality of it is, you really kind of start to ask some deeper questions of yourself, don't you? Like, is this really what I want now? What have I been doing all these years? Why do I feel like I'm standing in the same place and really just creating a big hole because I keep stepping in the same patterns? Is there more for me to do? Am I still growing? You can feel a pull towards something different too. That's another way of seeing or realizing that your season has shifted. You feel a pull towards a new career, a new purpose, a new way of living, all of those things. Um, are indications that it's time to do something different. So here we go. 5 ways to know that it's time for you to spring forward. What's your first way? Well, you've outgrown what once fit you. Yeah, you've kind of outgrown where you are. Where you used to feel comfortable really does is starting to feel real limiting to you right now. It's like you're kind of wearing shoes that once fit perfectly, but now they're starting to pinch your toes just a bit. And growth does that. I mean, you may say, I mean, think about when you had children and how quickly it seemed as though you were buying shoes because they would go through these growth spurts. Well, that's kind of what I'm talking about when I say you feel that you've outgrown what once fit you. You feel like the shoes that you were in, you feel like where you're standing is becoming smaller and smaller, and your feet are starting to hurt more and more. That's a sign that you are starting to outgrow or that you have outgrown what once fit you. What else? Well, your priorities have changed. That's important too. Things that once seemed kind of really urgent to you really no longer matter as much. And things that, once felt impossible suddenly feel important. And that shift is really only the beginning of reinvention. It's just the beginning. And you really do need to realize that. This is an indication, this is a hint for you. Hey, let's do something. Hey, uh, my priorities aren't where they used to be. My priorities are elsewhere, and I need to move in the direction that my priorities have gone into, that they have sprung into, keeping with our analogy here. All right. What else? Well, you feel restlessness and you really can't ignore it. It's something you get up every morning and you feel this stirring that something needs to change. You feel this stirring that your current environment is just not giving you what you need. Your current job isn't giving you what you need. The place that you're exercising isn't giving you what you need. What you're doing, in life, period, what you're doing for fun isn't giving you what you need. And you can't ignore it. Not frustration, not burnout, but there's just kind of this quiet inner voice saying, there's more, there's more, there's more. And no matter how you try to silence it, you hear it even in your sleep. It's not really trying to disrupt your life, it's trying to redirect it. So pay attention to that. Opportunities. Oh my goodness. Opportunities begin appearing. That's how you know it's time to spring forward. They're dropping from just out of nowhere. New ideas, new connections, new possibilities. Sometimes the door opens or it doesn't appear until we're willing to kind of look up from where we've been standing. So we look up and say, oh my goodness, there's a door there and I never saw it. I kind of compare it to how it is sometimes you can be sitting in an environment that you're used to, someplace that you frequently go. And all of a sudden you look up and realize, I didn't know that painting was always there or that picture was always there. So they just start appearing. They may not necessarily have just come into existence. They may just be appearing to you because your eyes are open and you're seeing things differently. All right. And what's our fifth thing? You realize that your time is valuable. When we were younger, we thought we had endless time. But wisdom really does bring clarity, doesn't it? You begin to understand something powerful. Your time is too valuable to stay stuck in a season that has already passed. That's what you start to realize. You realize that being stuck, you are tired of it. Being stuck stinks. Being stuck means that you are seeing the same things over and over and over. And being stuck one place without movement really starts to tell on you. It starts to tell on your body, doesn't it? Your feet start to get cramped. Your hips hurt because you need movement in order to live a productive life. The same with you in your seasons. Make sure that you're getting the movement that you need. All right. So, just like we adjusted our clocks this week, okay, you may begin shifting into your new season or realizing that, it's time to spring forward. You may do things like explore new ideas. You may, learn a new skill, say yes to an opportunity, release responsibilities that no longer belong to you. The small shifts, as I always say, are really the ones that are powerful. So, if life were honest with you today, what season would it say that you're in? Think about that as we start to wrap things up here. When your life is already moving towards spring, are you still operating in winter? So we moved forward again. We are thinking about how it is that we stay in the right season. When the season change, you really are allowed to change too. It's okay. It's all right for you to put on that short sleeve shirt. Go on, adjust to the season and make the best of it so that you can do the best with the environment that you're in, finding out what it is that you need to pull to get more of what you desire, and making sure that you don't stay in a place where the season, the time, the environment, the opportunities, or lack thereof, where all of those things are pulling against you instead of for you. All right. So go ahead and spring forward. As you see, I've got scrolling at the bottom. This weekend is the Miss Corporate America competition. If you are in the DC metro area, this is a place for you to be. You do not want to miss this. It is going to be a spectacular event. I've been talking to the queens all week. They are so excited. I just had one to say, I am beyond awesome when I asked her how she's feeling. They've worked hard to make sure that they are going to be able to showcase who they are, what they do, tell you the importance of their platform, and tell you what it is that they plan to do while wearing the crown. So get your ticket. Of course, we're watching these phenomenal ladies come across the stage. We also have so many other things. We have a VIP reception that's just about sold out. We may have a few more left. So go ahead and go online. If you desire to get a VIP ticket, do that right now. If you desire a general admission ticket, do that right now. We want to make sure that you are in the place, because not only are we honoring these women, we're doing some things in the community where we're honoring people in the community. And I've mentioned this already, Walla Blagay, as well as Carmen Thompson. We have a number of community liaisons who are also going to be there from various districts in the political community as well. We're excited. We're excited about this opportunity for all of us to come together in an environment of celebration, in an environment of community, in an environment where we are celebrating again and networking to make impact. So, this is your opportunity to do just that. We have wonderful vendors who are coming. Again, it promises to be a spectacular event. Get your ticket now before they end, before ticket sales end. All right. And until you come back, until we get together again next week, make sure that you go out and be authentically yourself, doing your absolute best to live the life that you desire. Spring forward and get out of that season that's no longer profiting you. Do what is necessary to live in your authenticity, realizing that your thumbprint is unique and that it has what it is that we need to make a difference, not just for you, but for the people around you, for the community around you, for the world. All right? Do what you can to live a life of purpose and one that thrives. If you need help in there, I am here. Reach out to me. I always include my information for you to send me an email, and I would be more than happy to help you in pulling and moving and going in the direction to achieve great things and live a life that thrives. Until I see you again, do everything possible to make sure that you are well.
New day. New day, new way. Turn it up, leaning 15 minutes, let the change begin. Busy life, big dreams, so much noise in your ears. We cut straight through, make the next step clear. Thought for Thursday, real talk, real tools right now. In 15 we move the dial, simple steps, strong moves, you'll see how. Thought for Thursday, clarity that sticks, you'll feel it from insight to action, and impact that stays. Thought for Thursday, let's change a day.